Okay, so in this video I want to add some client-side routing. So the way that this is going to work is I'd like to have something like a navigation component, and then we'll have like a couple different pages, and then when you click on the links, you'll navigate to the different components. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install React Router. Okay. Okay, and then so I want a couple different components here to represent the different pages. So maybe we'll call this one about. We'll have an about page, and then we can add maybe a contact page. Okay, and then here, let's see. Okay, let's just say it says a header that says contact. It says this is the contact page. Well, okay, so we want this to be in a React component. Like that. That looks pretty good. And we'll do something similar with the about page. Okay. So now we have these two components. What I want to do is go to the main.js file, and instead of just rendering home directly, what I want to do is render a React Router route component. Okay, so here let me get React Router. Let's see, let me just take a look at the documentation. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna want these two. We'll just go ahead and do that. And then here, so here instead of the home component, we want basically something like this. So we'll start with the router component. Okay, and then we'll have some routes in here. So the route, you can see here, it takes a path and a component. So this is saying, basically saying, okay, if I go to the path at slash, then we want to render the, in our case, what I want to do is render the home component. Okay. So then, I actually want to have some nested routes here. I want to say you want to, when you go to slash, you want to go to the home component, but then if you go to slash slash contact, then I want to render the contact component. And similarly for the about. Okay, so I'm going to need these components now. Okay. And then now, okay, so what's going to happen here is, okay, when you go to any route that starts with slash, so basically any route, what's first going to happen is that this component is going to get rendered into this content div. And then we can use this.props.children. So here, this.props.children is going to be either the about or the contact component, depending on which route you went to. Right? So if you went to the about path, then you'll get the about component. If you went to the contact path, you'll get the contact component. Okay. Let's see if that worked. Oh, okay. Okay, so it looks like we're missing this history library. So let's go ahead and install that. Okay, so it looks like that fixed it. Read property username of undefined. Okay, so we have a problem because we stopped passing the session into the home component. So there's a couple ways to do this, but I think the best way would be to use this create element property on the router. This is because doing it this way, that'll make it so every component has access to the session object, which I think is what we want in this case. So we can just add this property into the router, and this has to be a function. And the function will get a component and props. So basically this is what happens before the component gets created on each route. And then we want to, so what we have now is the default behavior, but what we want to do is add the session property, and this will be session. So now, basically, okay, so when you go to slash, it'll create the home component, and before the home component gets created, it's going to get a prop, this .props.session for the home component is going to be session, And then actually the same thing will happen for every route that you go through. So let's see if this worked. Okay, so it looks like that worked. Now I want to try going to the About page. Okay, and then I want to go to the Contact page. And so one thing I want to point out right now is that because of the way that we've set up the router, so the default is that it uses this hash in the URL. Unless you set it up differently, these routes will not work without the hash. Okay. So the last thing I want to show is basically I want to link to these pages. But with the client-side routing, you have to use a special link component. Before that, okay. Well, okay, so I'll just go ahead and add them inside of here. Right. So this looks very similar to like a regular link, like an href. But instead of an A, it's a link, and then instead of href, you want a to, and then you want to link to like whatever the name of the route was. So we want to go to /about, and then in here you can put the text of the link. We'll call it about, and then we'll put something similar for the contact page. Okay. So let's restart the server and see if that worked. Maybe this can be an unordered list. Oops. Okay. And so now each of these should link to the appropriate page. And the history should be set up so you can click back and click forward. Maybe we can go ahead and add a link for the home page. Okay, so you can go to home, go to about, go to contact. We didn't set anything up for the home page, but basically it's just rendering only this page. So maybe one last thing I want to do is we can create a navigation component. And then we can move this stuff out, put it into here, and then we can require the navigation component here. And then we can just do something like this. Okay. So everything still works. I think it just keeps the code a little bit more organized. And I think that's pretty much it for the client-side routing.